1954, a kitchen in Indiana. A mother holds a teaspoon of cod liver oil over the high chair tray. The smell is unmistakably dense, fishy, and cut with a faint orange flavor that fools nobody. The baby turns its head. She waits. The spoon goes in. 5 seconds. Done. Her pediatrician told her to, and her mother said the same thing 20 years before that. These are 15 baby care practices that were standard in American homes throughout the 1950s, and every one of them was abandoned. Now, one by one, modern medicine is quietly admitting these mothers were right. Now, before we dive in, tap that subscribe button. You will not want to miss what is coming next. Number 15. The daily spoonful of cod liver oil. Every morning, mothers across America gave their babies a teaspoon of cod liver oil. Vitamin D, vitamin A, and omega-3 fatty acids in a single spoonful. Scott's emulsion came in a tall glass bottle. The white emulsified liquid poured thick and slow. There was an orange-flavored version that still tasted like the sea. The baby grimaced. The whole thing took 5 seconds. A bottle cost about 60 cents in 1954 and lasted over a month. Today, pediatricians call vitamin D deficiency an epidemic in American children. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends vitamin D drops for every breastfed infant. Those drops cost $12 to $15 a bottle. They do not include the omega-3 fatty acids that the old cod liver oil carried for free. The fishy spoon was 60 years ahead of the supplement aisle, but the cod liver oil was only what went into the baby. What went around the baby mattered just as much. Number 14. Fresh air naps in the pram. Babies napped outside, on the porch and in the yard, soaking up fresh air in a perambulator parked beside the back door. Winter or summer, they used a Thayer or built-right pram with a navy blue canvas hood and a wool blanket tucked around the baby, possibly hand-knit by grandmother. The baby's face pointed to the open sky, the screen door propped so mother could hear from the kitchen. There was the sound of birds and wind through the elm tree. The baby slept 2 hours, sometimes 3. Researchers at the University of Oulu in Finland confirmed it. Babies who nap outdoors sleep longer and more soundly. Nordic countries still park strollers outside in below freezing temperatures. American mothers were doing this decades earlier, until an industry built around indoor nurseries, sound machines, and blackout curtains told them to stop. The porch was the original sleep clinic. It charged nothing, and it worked. And what the mother fed that baby when it woke up would have horrified a modern nutritionist, until about 5 years ago. Number 13. Homemade baby food mashed at the table. Mothers mashed whatever the family was eating with a fork and fed it to the baby from a small bowl. That was baby food. A ripe banana pressed on a bread plate. Soft carrots from the pot roast run through a sieve. Sweet potato or peas cranked through a Foley food mill with a metal body and a wooden handle. Gerber had been selling jarred food since 1928, but through the 50s, many mothers still made it by hand, rural mothers and working-class mothers. The Foley food mill cost about $1.50 at the 5 and dime. The food usually came from the same pot the family ate from. Studies now show babies fed homemade food develop wider palates. They are far less likely to become picky eaters. The flavors vary, the textures change. Gerber taught a generation that feeding a baby required a factory. It did not. It required a fork. What happened after mealtime led to another trick the kitchen pantry solved before the pharmacy ever could. Number 12. The oatmeal bath for baby skin. When a baby had diaper rash or eczema or heat rash, mothers drew a warm bath and added oatmeal. Some ground Quaker oats fine in a coffee grinder or tied the oats in a square of cheesecloth and dropped it into the bath water. The water turned milky and silky to the touch, and the baby sat in it for 10 minutes. But most mothers just used what was already in the cupboard. A box of Quaker oats cost about 29 cents. The FDA now classifies colloidal oatmeal as a skin protectant. Dermatologists prescribe it for infant eczema. The answer to the rash was on the second shelf of the kitchen cabinet. The oatmeal bath treated the skin. But what happened below the ankle may be the most counterintuitive trick on this entire list. Number 11. Barefoot babies learning to walk. Babies and toddlers went barefoot, inside and outside. Shoes came later, and only for church or town. Bare feet on hardwood floors, bare feet on the porch boards, bare feet in summer grass, toes gripping, arches flexing. Buster Brown and Stride Right sold rigid walking shoes for toddlers. $3 to $4 a pair in 1955, roughly half a day's factory wages. Most working-class families could not justify the cost. Children walked barefoot until school required shoes. Modern podiatrists now say rigid shoes on toddlers delay motor development. Barefoot walking strengthens the 26 bones and 33 joints that make up the adult human foot. The families who could not afford the shoes gave their children a developmental advantage. Poverty, in this case, was wiser than the shoe store. These mothers had no clinical trials, no parenting blogs, no color-coded pediatric guidelines. They had what their mothers taught them and what they observed with their own eyes. That turned out to be enough. In most cases, it turned out to be more than enough. The next 5 items are the ones the experts fought hardest against and lost. Number 10. Cloth diapers pinned and washed by hand. Cloth diapers were the everyday diaper. Babies wore cotton flats, folded and secured with steel diaper pins that had locking safety heads. Bird's eye cotton had a soft, nubby weave. Flats were folded into a triangle or a rectangle, and rubber pants from Gerber or Playtex were pulled over the top. Soiled diapers went into a galvanized pail with a lid, soaking in borax and water until wash day. They were run through a wringer washer and then hung on the clothesline, bleaching white in the afternoon sun. A dozen cloth diapers cost about $2 in 1952. They often lasted through 2 or 3 children. Disposable diapers contain sodium polyacrylate, synthetic fragrances, and have been found to carry trace amounts of chemicals, including dioxins from the bleaching process. Some evidence suggests cloth-diapered babies may potty train earlier, in part because they feel wetness more immediately. The global diaper industry is now worth over $70 billion. The cloth ones cost $2 and outlasted the baby who wore them. Cloth diapers were what touched the baby's skin. But the next trick was about what touched the baby from across the room. It may be the simple medical intervention ever used in an American home. Number 9. Sunlight through the window for jaundice. When a newborn turned yellow with jaundice, the doctor told the mother to put the baby near the window and let the sunlight in. The bassinet was moved beside the bedroom window, curtains pulled wide. The baby was undressed to the diaper and lay in a band of warm morning light. The mother watched from the rocking chair, checking the color of the skin every few hours. By the 2nd or 3rd day, the yellow faded. There was no bill. Modern hospitals treat jaundice with phototherapy using blue spectrum light that breaks down bilirubin in the skin. Same principle, same science. The sun did it first. The bedroom window was the original phototherapy unit, and it cost nothing. Sunlight for the skin. But when the trouble was inside, when the baby was screaming, and nothing seemed to help, the answer came from a place even older than the window. Number 8. Gripe water for colic. When a baby screamed with gas and colic, Mothers gave Gripe water. It was a remedy built around fennel and dill and sometimes sodium bicarbonate. In American homes, many mothers brewed their own. They steeped fennel seeds in hot water, strained the liquid through cheesecloth, and cooled it to room temperature. There was the licorice-sweet smell of fennel and the baby's mouth opening for the eyedropper. 15 minutes later, the screaming stopped. A handful of fennel seeds from the spice rack or the herb garden by the kitchen steps. Pennies. A randomized controlled trial from 2003 found that fennel seed oil emulsion reduced colic in 65% of infants studied. Pharmaceutical colic drops now sell for $12 to $18 a bottle. Grandmother's fennel tea worked better, and she grew it by the back step. Fennel was what went in. But what went on the skin, what mothers dusted across that baby after every diaper change, is where this list takes a turn nobody saw coming. Number 7. Cornstarch instead of talcum powder. Many mothers dusted their babies with plain cornstarch instead of talcum powder. A yellow box of Argo cornstarch from the kitchen shelf. The puff of white powder shaken over the changing table. Dry, silky feel on the baby's skin. Johnson's baby powder was the dominant brand. The white bottle, the pink label, that sweet powdery scent an entire generation associates with infancy. But mothers who reached for the cornstarch made a different choice. By habit, by preference, or by budget. Johnson & Johnson has proposed settlements totaling roughly $10 billion to resolve claims linked to talc contamination in their baby powder. The product has been pulled from shelves across the United States. The cornstarch mothers were not being cheap. They were being right, and nobody told them, nobody had to. That was a mother protecting her baby's skin. The next one is about a mother protecting her baby's entire immune future and being told for 30 years that she was wrong. Number 6. Early introduction of egg yolks and peanut butter. 1950s doctors told mothers to give babies mashed egg yolk starting around 4 to 6 months. Peanut butter, thinned with a little milk, was introduced to many babies in the months that followed. A soft boiled egg, cracked open at the breakfast table. Yolk scooped with a small spoon, mashed with a drop of butter or breast milk. Peanut butter from Skippy or Peter Pan, about 27 cents a jar, mixed thin enough to swallow safely. Building blocks of a growing brain delivered before the baby had teeth. Starting in the 1990s, pediatricians reversed course. Delay peanuts, delay eggs, delay all major allergens until age 2 or 3. Over the decades that followed, childhood food allergies skyrocketed across the country. Then came the LEAP study in 2015. Early peanut introduction reduced allergy rates by over 80%. The official guidelines reversed again. The 1950s mothers had it right the entire time. 3 decades of children paid the price for the correction. Over and over, the instinct of ordinary mothers was overruled by professionals, replaced by products. Then decades later, proven correct by the same institutions that had dismissed it. Nobody went back and apologized. Nobody sent a letter saying your mother was right. The science just changed quietly, and the mothers were already gone. The last 5 items on this list are the ones that cut the deepest. Number 5. Tummy time on a blanket on the floor. Babies spent time on their stomachs on a blanket on the living room floor every single day. A cotton quilt spread on hardwood or linoleum. The baby was placed face down, arms pushing up, head lifting, neck strengthening. A mother ironing or folding laundry 2 feet away. There was no special mat, just a blanket and a floor. The baby stared at the weave of the fabric, the dog walking past, and dust motes floating through a shaft of window light. Tummy time is now an official recommendation from the American Academy of Pediatrics starting from day 1. It prevents flat head syndrome and builds the muscles a baby needs to crawl, sit, and walk. The modern version comes with a $40 foam playmat and an instructional pamphlet. The original version cost nothing and came with no instructions because none were needed. Tummy time built the body, but where the baby slept at night built something no one could see. And it may have saved more lives than any of us realize. Number 4. Baby sleeping in the parents' room. Babies slept in the same room as their parents. A bassinet beside the bed, a small cradle within arm's reach, a wooden bassinet on rockers, a wicker Moses basket handed down from a neighbor or a sister-in-law. In smaller homes, there was no nursery. Baby slept where the parents slept because there was nowhere else. The sound of the baby breathing in the dark, the mother's hand reaching over to feel the rise and fall of that small chest. The whole family in one room, not because a book told them to, because the house had 3 rooms and 5 people. The American Academy of Pediatrics now recommends room sharing for the first 6 to 12 months. It may reduce the risk of sudden infant death syndrome by as much as 50%. That recommendation was published in 2016. The practice was standard in every working-class home in America a full 60 years before anyone thought to write it down. That was about where the baby slept. The next one is about where the baby played and what it put in its mouth while it was there. Number 3, letting babies crawl in dirt and grass. Babies played on the ground, in the yard, in the garden, on surfaces that were not sanitized, not padded, and not indoors. Bare knees on grass, dirt under fingernails. A mouthful of dandelion, the dog licking the baby's face. Nobody rushed over with an antibacterial wipe. Nobody panicked. The baby crawled through it all and came inside filthy and grinning. It was unsupervised, and it was alive. The hygiene hypothesis, now supported by dozens of studies, shows that children exposed to microbes in early life develop stronger immune systems and have dramatically lower rates of asthma, allergies, and autoimmune disease. Farm children have the lowest allergy rates in the developed world. The backyard was not unsanitary. It was an immune system under construction. The mothers who allowed it were not careless. They were building something no sterile playroom ever could. The dirt built the body's defenses. But there was one thing these mothers gave their babies that no product, no company, and no laboratory has ever been able to reproduce. Number 2, breastfeeding because it was free and it was there. Many working-class mothers breastfed their babies, not because of a philosophy or a movement, because formula cost money they did not have. Baby on the lap in the kitchen chair, the rocking chair on the porch after supper. No cover, no pump, no storage bags, no freezer system, just a mother and a child, and the oldest form of nourishment on earth. Similac and other formula brands marketed hard through the magazine ads. Modern, scientific, a smiling bottle-fed baby on every page. A can of evaporated milk for homemade formula cost about 15 cents in 1955. For a family living on a single factory income, that was a luxury. Breastfeeding cost nothing. And it delivered antibodies, enzymes, and nutrients no formula has fully replicated to this day. The World Health Organization now recommends exclusive breastfeeding for 6 months. Reduced infection, stronger immunity, lower risk of sudden infant death syndrome, better cognitive development. The mothers who could not afford to stop breastfeeding gave their children the single greatest nutritional advantage available to a human infant. They did it because they had no choice. The choice turned out to be the best one anyone could make. But if there is one item on this list that matters more than all the others, it is this. One thing modern science has spent 60 years proving, that no product can replace, and no expert should have ever argued against. Number 1. holding your baby, rocking your baby, every time it cried. When the baby cried, the mother picked it up. She held it. She rocked it. She did not put it down until it stopped. A rocking chair with a creak in the left runner, a mother's shoulder, a father's forearm at 2 a.m, walking the hallway in socks so the floorboards would not wake the older children. The baby's ear pressed against the chest, hearing the heartbeat it had known for 9 months. The low humming, not a song, not a lullaby, just a sound, a vibration. Parenting books of the era warned against it. You are spoiling the child, let it cry. You are creating dependency. But most of them, especially the ones raised by their own mothers, did not. They picked the baby up anyway, every single time. Attachment theory, the work of John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth, has been confirmed in study after study for 6 decades. Babies who are held when they cry develop secure attachment. They are not spoiled. They become more independent, more confident, more emotionally regulated as they grow. The mother who could not bear to let her baby cry was not being soft. She was building the architecture of a human brain, one hold at a time, one rock at a time, in a chair that her own mother sat in before her. 15 practices. Not one of them required a medical degree, a subscription, or a product with a barcode. They required a mother's hands, a kitchen, a backyard, and the willingness to trust what she already knew. And somewhere right now, in a house with creaking floors and not enough rooms, a grandmother is reaching into a bassinet and lifting a crying baby to her chest. She does not check her phone. She does not look up what to do. She already knows. She has always known. If you want more forgotten wisdom from the generations who came before us, the next video is waiting for you right now.